Tonight on Cronkite News, we will take you through the series of events that led to ASU football's first win of the season.
Plus, Cactus League spring training brings visitors from all over the country. We'll tell you how much that economic impact has on the Valley.
And COVID-19 cases are on the rise nationwide. What does this mean for Arizonans? Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Matt Venezia.
And I'm Jeff Hinkle. Thank you for joining us.
Arizona State football season kicked off on Thursday, and it has been quite a journey to the program's first win under Kenny Dillingham. We'll have more on this season's opener in just a minute, but first, the bombshell news that came 5 days before.
Yeah, Matt, the school announced a self-imposed bowl ban as discipline for alleged recruiting violations, setting a somber tone for the start of the season. Joining us now is Aaron Gonzalez, here to walk us through the key events that brought the program to this point.
Since it's been a while, let's go ahead and refresh our memories really quick. Going back to June of 2021, Herm Edwards was accused of hosting recruits on campus during the NCAA dead period that took place because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The investigation led to 5 full-time coaches leaving the staff or being fired. However, Edwards still remained at the helm of head coaching duties. Moving ahead to the start of the 2022 football season, ASU was sitting at 1-1. They suffered an embarrassing 30-21 home loss against Eastern Michigan. And as a result, Edwards was fired a day later. Running backs coach Sean Iguano took over as the school's interim head coach for the remainder of the season. And just 2 months later, ASU announced Kenny Dillingham would be the new football head coach. Dillingham, a 2012 Arizona State grad and fellow native, got his college career start at ASU as an offensive assistant back in 2014. He would go on to become the youngest Power 5 head coach in the country. And just fast forward to last week, and just 5 days before their season opener, ASU announced a self-imposed bowl ban for the 2023 season for those alleged recruiting violations. A move that came as a shock to the first-year head coach.
I mean, they receive horrible news on a Tuesday practice in the morning before we meet for special teams. So to think that 18 and 22-year-olds are going to go out and have a good Tuesday practice is absolutely delusional. But I think the guys battled. The guys did the best they could do.
Fans were quick to criticize the preemptive measures since the NCAA has not made a ruling on the case yet. Booster Charles Knapp Lawrence, who just donated $1 million last year, called it a stab in the back to the players. But the seniors on the team, they say they still have a lot to play for.
I mean, I think a big part of it is just getting around people and just letting people know, like, this season isn't for nothing. You know, at the end of the day, we still want to go 12-0 so we can be that team that everyone talks about, like, dang, if they would have got that chance. It's going to suck when we get to that point, but there's no reason to be sad. Like, I was talking to DJ, and he's like, there's no point of being sad right now. Be sad in November when you win 8 or 9 or 10 games, and then you can't go anywhere. So.
The Sun Devils are certainly motivated off to a 1-0 start, but they'll be tested this week as they take on Oklahoma State on Saturday in Tempe. At the Google touchscreen, I'm Aaron Gonzalez, Cronkite News.
Yes, Aaron, Oklahoma State awaits ASU, but to go back to that first game, it was chaotic to say the least. At the newly named Mountain America Stadium, ASU took down Southern Utah 24-21, but it took over 5 hours to decide the winner. A haboob or a dust storm touchdown in the Valley on Thursday night. The Sun Devils took the field to begin the Kenny Dillingham Activate the Valley era, and true freshman quarterback Jaden Rashada did not show his youth on this 4th down and 8 conversion, 47-yard touchdown to Xavier Guillory. And here on this next touchdown throw, the dust began to gather. A nice fade to Troy O'Meara. Halftime lasted 2 hours and 45 minutes because of the weather delay, and at one point there was reason to think that this game was going to be postponed. But eventually they did play football, a unique season opener that Coach Dillingham was not satisfied with.
How do you let a circumstance affect us like that? And that's something that I got to find a resolution to. That's something that I and myself and our staff have to find a way for that not to happen, because rain delays are very, very easy pieces of adversity. When you talk about football, that's not a difficult adversity to overcome. And we're going to have to do better moving forward, overcoming adversity. It starts as us, the staff, and myself.
Major League Baseball is in its final month of the regular season, but Valley officials are looking back to where it all began, spring training. And it's a big win for the Cactus League. Cronkite News reporter Paul Schultz has more on the newly released Economic Impact Report.
The Cactus League plays host to 15 teams across 10 ballparks every spring. It's one of the Valley's biggest economic attractions. A project led by the Seidman Research Institute at Arizona State University looked at the economic impact of spring training last season and how much money the month-long event brought to the Valley.
While Cactus League games may not count, their economic impact certainly does. Today, we are excited to announce that the 2023 Cactus League season generated roughly $418 million in economic activity.
For the first time in more than 3 years, a normal season of spring training welcomed over 1.5 million fans without any restrictions due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
I've been in the business of supporting community and baseball for 30 years, but I can say that after the last 3 seasons impacted by a pandemic and work stoppage, the Cactus League in 2023 provided its resilience as a major tourism industry and engine for Arizona.
While the numbers show $418 million in new revenue for the economy, they also show significant growth in this year of revival. The last pre-COVID report in 2018 showed roughly $644 million in total economic activity. In this year's report, we saw that number jump to $710 million. But where exactly do we get all these numbers?
What we're trying to look at is what new dollars come into the Valley as a result of Cactus League. That's why we focus on out-of-state visitors, and that's why we focus really upon the organizational expenditures of the ballparks themselves during that 4 to 5 week window.
But the fans coming to the Valley each February aren't just going to the ballpark. They also visit other Arizona landmarks like Tombstone and the Grand Canyon.
The Cactus League is Arizona's longest running national sporting event, and it's a home run for the state's economy. Generations of baseball fans from across the world have fallen in love with Arizona, and those fans spend time and money visiting other areas of Arizona.
So no matter what happens to their favorite teams this fall, fans are sure to make their way back to the desert in the spring. In Tempe, Paul Schultz, Cronkite News.
Keeping things with baseball, the Arizona Diamondbacks are lending a hand to help low-income communities in the Valley.
For the 4th year in a row, the team partnered with Assistance League Phoenix to surprise kids with anything they could need going into the school year. A mobile dressing center called the Delivering Dreams Bus travels across 130 schools to provide students with uniforms, shoes, and hygiene supply kits. Arizona Diamondbacks pitchers Zach Gallen and Scott McGuff helped the organization and spent time with the students. After the event, Gallen talked about the example he's trying to set for kids in the community.
I mean, just to show them that, you know, even if you have success, it's always good to make time. And you know, if you can do anything just to brighten somebody's day for just a quick second, whatever it is, and, you know, just have the kids know they can chase their dreams. It's not improbable.
As the D-backs continue to be stars for the community off the field, fans are hoping this will translate onto the diamond as the wildcard race heats up with less than a month left in the regular season. The D-backs are narrowly leading a 4-team race for the final playoff spot in the National League, with the Reds, Marlins, and Giants all within 1 game back of the Snakes. Despite going just 2-2 in their last 4 games, the D-backs are still in control of their playoff destiny. The Snakes sit 3 games back of the Cubs in the wild card standings, but are set to play Chicago 7 times over the next 2 weeks. It's safe to say if the D-backs can take care of business on their end of this, it would be the team's first playoff clinching scenario since 2017.
Coming up next, hearts remain heavy for the Cesar Chavez high school football team. How they plan to remain headstrong following the loss of a player.
And storms cooled down much of Arizona last week, but we take a look back at this week's rising temperatures.
Three, 2, 1. Cronkite News. Get real professional experience in areas such as reporting, broadcast editing, and behind-the-scenes production, such as technical director and audio.
Kill the mics.
Or go out in the field and cover important local stories.
Learn and master the English language.
In a fun, welcoming atmosphere. Cronkite News. The future starts now.
Here at the Walter Cronkite School, students produce award-winning content that focuses on health disparities in underserved communities and how to turn things around. In Cronkite News and Cronkite Noticias, students cover stories that affect people of color, the LGBTQ+ community, people with disabilities, and others across the Southwest.
We highlight big problems that are often overlooked in communities that are underserved.
Those stories not only inform and educate people about the challenges, but we work hard to highlight potential solutions. In the Cronkite Agency, students work to connect with community members through social media campaigns in English and Spanish.
Being a Hispanic myself, it's nice to be able to give back to my own community.
Find more of our health coverage at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Unfortunately, the Arizona Cardinals are projected to be one of the worst teams in the NFL this season. But first-year head coach Jonathan Gannon is doing everything he can to motivate the team. But it's been a tough sell on social media. Gannon gave a speech on an episode of the team's Cards Flight Plan series. He started by asking if any players had, quote, fire in their gut, and if they didn't, to light that fire now. Gannon also emphasized winning while staying true to themselves on the field. Gannon ended it by saying he's looking for killers on his team. The speech has been widely panned on social media, some calling it cringeworthy. We'll see if it worked as the Cardinals open the season Sunday against the Commanders.
With high school football underway, the Cesar Chavez high school community is still mourning the loss of one of its players.
Cronkite News reporter Beatriz Martinez joins us from the newsroom now with more on how the champions are trying to move forward.
The champions have played 2 games now, and while emotions will run high all season long, it was that very first game that might have been the hardest, but Cesar Chavez football family is getting through it together. Cesar Chavez football players stood arm in arm before the opening game of the season, not only to solidify their bond as teammates, but to support each other as brothers.
We're going to go out here and play for our brother no matter what happens. We got nothing to lose now. We already lost our brother. We just got to play for him.
It's been over a month since the passing of Christopher Hampton, and his brothers are dedicating this season to him. When Cesar Chavez took on the Chandler Wolves for their season opener, the champions never imagined suiting up without a beloved member of the team. Players and staff wore a number 5 in honor of Hampton, as that was his jersey number last year. This tragedy has given the team an entirely new perspective.
Before our brother passed, we was a lot more slappy, just playing around. But now that we lost him, it's been a lot more focused. There's been little ruptures here and there, but, we still stay on track.
Coach Ducey Burrow, the new head football coach for Cesar Chavez, came in really having to help navigate these young athletes through the grieving process of losing their brother.
My goal was to keep us together, and that's what I came here, and that's what we're doing. And when the opportunity came, it was no question. I knew I had to step up and be here for him.
Coach Burwell has been the team's shoulder to cry on, and although he remains strong, his heart is heavy.
Man, we were in a tough spot. You're seeing hurt boys. So I just try my best to take that hurt from them.
After seeing his players hurt so much, Burwell just wants his players to have fun.
Taking the guys to the funeral, we got to cry together. And so to get that out the way and then, be together in practice, grieve together in practice, and then work together in practice, today's going to be a good day. We want this day to be fun.
I can tell you there were a lot of people in the stands for that first game, and it seems like the community will be supporting the champions all year. If you want to head out and support Cesar Chavez football, their next game will be at home against their rival, the Fairfax Stampedes, this Friday at 7 p.m. In the newsroom, Beatriz Martinez, Cronkite News.
Temperatures are on the rise here in the Valley and across the Grand Canyon State.
Sienna Monet joins us now from the Cronkite Weather Center to take a closer look at what we can expect.
Let's take a look at this Tuesday evening's forecast. So right now, it's about 97 degrees. It's going to be about 96 degrees at 8 p.m. and then it's going to cool off later this evening with 93 degrees at 9 p.m. and then 91 degrees at 10 p.m. So if you want to take that late night walk, around 8 to 9 p.m. would be your most ideal time to do that. If we take a look at our future forecast for this Tuesday, we're going to see some clear skies and some dry weather conditions throughout the state. We will be seeing some light showers on Wednesday around 6:30 p.m. in Sierra Vista, and then those light clouds start to roll on through the state. If we take a look at those low temperatures during this Wednesday, we're going to see 81 degrees in Phoenix, 66 degrees in Sedona, 61 degrees in Payson. And then on the west side of the state, those temperatures are starting to drop with 75 degrees in Bullhead City and 75 degrees in Yuma. If we take a look at those high temperatures across the valley, Arizona, we are seeing Phoenix at 106 degrees, 91 degrees in Sedona, and 85 degrees in Payson. So up north, it's starting to really heat up. On the west side, we are still seeing those triple digits come in with 102 degrees in Bullhead City and 102 degrees in Yuma. So make sure to keep drinking that water and staying hydrated because it's starting to heat up. If we look into our 8-day forecast for this weekend, those temperatures are really starting to rise with 112 degrees on Saturday and Sunday. If we look towards the next week, we're going to see Monday at 108 degrees and Tuesday and Wednesday 103 degrees. So make sure to keep that sunscreen on and to stay hydrated during this heat. Sienna Monet with the Cronkite Weather Center.
Coming up, the city of Phoenix is expanding trail restrictions.
We're looking at their efforts to keep hikers safe from the heat.
This is CN to Go. I'm Emily Olson with your Wednesday news briefing.
Do you want to create innovative content for Cronkite News? Do you enjoy listening to podcasts? Then CN to Go is for you. Cronkite News to Go is a podcast where students cover the latest headlines. Students become audio producers and hosts and will learn how to write, record, and edit stories. You can listen to the latest episodes on these platforms.
Ain't no time for imitation, ain't no time for playing. I'm just gonna do me.
Know what I'm saying?
Try to steer the trouble.
Where's the fun in that? You know how ladies can be.
I'ma do what I do.
Stream the best of PBS on any device with the PBS Video app. All your favorite drama, history, science, news, and documentaries, all in one place. Watch your PBS station live or catch up on the shows you missed. Discover new favorites from PBS and locally produced shows from your station.
Sign in and start streaming today.
And that's the way it is. Monday, September.
Newscasting has changed a lot since the time of Walter Cronkite. That's why here at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism, you can learn the studio production skills of today in real time. Whether you want to work audio, direct, technical direct, design graphics, or you can even run the floor. It's all part of the Television Production and Graphics Lab here at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. We're going on in 3, 2...
I'm Emily Mai with a look at news around the nation. The White House announced Monday that First Lady Jill Biden has tested positive for COVID-19, the most high-profile victim of the disease, which is surging across the country as the end of summer nears. That trend that is being seen in Arizona too, as there were more than 3,400 new cases of COVID-19 reported just last week. And as our Alexandria Cullen reports from Washington, experts think those numbers will continue to rise.
Glad that Arizona is counting and has a count that they're comfortable with, but I can assure you that that's an undercount. There's probably more people out there who have been infected.
According to Dr. Josh Mashoud, the groups dealing with those infections are individuals who are not up to date on their vaccinations.
If they're not up to date on their vaccines, in particular, they're at some risk for these severe complications. And many of the hospitalizations that we're seeing now fall into those categories.
The good news is that the COVID variant does not appear to be as lethal as previous versions.
Interesting, I think, that Omicron strain was far more transmissible than any other version and far less lethal.
Experts also said that people seem to be taking the threat seriously and getting vaccinated. Humble plans to get his booster next month.
For people with medical conditions that put them at higher risk, yeah, there's things you need to do beyond just getting the booster shot. But for the general public, I think it's a matter of, getting the booster.
While staying up to date on vaccines are important, there are other precautions you can take to avoid getting sick.
Wearing masks in public places and being careful about how much time you spend in crowded locations can, make a difference.
Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays is calling on the Food and Drug Administration to put restrictions on e-cigarettes, a move aimed at preventing children from getting addicted. Mays joined more than 30 attorneys general from across the country asking the FDA for new restrictions, including a ban on all non-tobacco flavors in e-cigarettes. Mays is also calling on the FDA to restrict marketing that targets children. According to the CDC, 51% of high school-aged youth in Arizona have tried an electric vaping device. Over the summer, Camelback and Piestewa Peak trails were closed on days deemed too hot, thanks to the valley's high and dry temperatures. The city of Phoenix already prohibits dogs from hiking when temperatures hit 100 degrees. Now, they're moving to keep people safer too. Trails on Camelback Mountain and Piestewa Peak were closed from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. this summer, on days the National Weather Service deemed excessive heat days. Going forward, trail access will be restricted on excessive heat days all year long. The Phoenix Parks and Recreation Board gathered last week to shed light on why those trails were picked for their tighter restrictions.
A lot of people will ask us why these trails specifically were closed, and there's three main aspects that the fire department has pointed to and we agree with. These trails are definitely busier than other trails. We have trail counters at our trails and they're very, very popular. And secondly, they're very popular with out-of-town visitors. So we have a lot of people on these trails that might not be acclimated and may go hiking and may not be prepared for it. And third, and most importantly, probably, is that they're the most difficult to have mountain rescues performed on or from. These trails are more technical in nature to do rescues on.
And another popular hiking area is set to reopen later this week. The Dreamy Draw recreation area in Phoenix had been closed for some much-needed upgrades, like a bigger parking area, new ramadas, and a new restroom, which will all be ADA accessible. The area officially opens to the public on Thursday at 8:30 in the morning. That's it for the news briefing. In the newsroom, I'm Emily Mai, Cronkite News. Now back to Matt and Jeff at the desk.
Thank you, Emily. And coming up next,
a deep sea discovery in not so deep seas. We'll tell you where divers found this ship that last set sail in the 1800s.
This is CN to Go. I'm Emily Olson with your Wednesday news briefing.
Do you want to create innovative content for Cronkite News? Do you enjoy listening to podcasts? Then CN to Go is for you. Cronkite News to Go is a podcast where students cover the latest headlines. Students become audio producers and hosts and will learn how to write, record, and edit stories. You can listen to the latest episodes on these platforms.
Ain't no time for imitation, ain't no time for playing. I'm just gonna do me.
Know what I'm saying?
Try to steer the trouble.
Where's the fun in that? You know how ladies can be.
I'ma do what I do.
Stream the best of PBS on any device with the PBS Video app. All your favorite drama, history, science, news, and documentaries, all in one place. Watch your PBS station live or catch up on the shows you missed. Discover new favorites from PBS and locally produced shows from your station.
Sign in and start streaming today.
And that's the way it is. Monday, September.
Newscasting has changed a lot since the time of Walter Cronkite. That's why here at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism, you can learn the studio production skills of today in real time. Whether you want to work audio, direct, technical direct, design graphics, or you can even run the floor. It's all part of the Television Production and Graphics Lab here at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. We're going on in 3, 2...
Welcome back. Jeff, I bet most people don't think of lakes when it comes to buried treasure and shipwrecks.
Yeah, Matt, well, those people might think again after seeing this.
2 shipwreck hunters discovered this 19th century ship 270 feet below the surface of Lake Michigan. The wreck, found just off the coast of Algoma, last set sail in May of 1881. And according to Wisconsin Historical Society, the ship sank as it was traveling down the coast of Wisconsin towards Milwaukee. Luckily, the crew survived the long-lost wreck.
Well, that's going to be it for Cronkite News. Thanks for joining us.
And to see more of Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.